to the bone. There's darkness in your soul.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Trek Canon. So today we're going to be talking about Constable Odo from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Now, a little bit about Constable Odo. Constable Odo was one of many small or infant juvenile changelings that the Great Link sent out into the galaxy, basically. All right. Now, the purpose of them sending out young changelings was to have them experience the universe and one day come back and rejoin the Great Link. It's actually a pretty cool thing to do. All right. Odo ends up finding his way to Bajor, all right, where he was experimented on and everything like that because they didn't know what he was. When they found out that he was a sentient life form, they switched up on all that and basically raised him as an orphan experiment. All right. He later ends up going to Terok Nor, or what we know as the Deep Space Nine space station when it was under Cardassian rule, where Gul Dukat takes an interest in him. I wouldn't say a liking, but takes an interest in his sense of justice, as they said in the episode, and enlists his help to basically be the constable or the police force or the justice, as you should say, on the space station when dealing with the Bajorans. During this time, this is where he met people like Kira, where he befriended her. He also met Quark during this time as well. Now, after the Federation brokered the deal with the Cardassian Union, Deep Space Nine and Terok Nor and Bajor were unoccupied by the Cardassians. Terok Nor became Deep Space Nine and taken over by Starfleet personnel, Commander Benjamin Sisko. Right, and he asked Constable Odo to stay aboard as the constable for the Promenade, and by extension, the rest of the Deep Space Nine station, where he works in conjunction with Starfleet security officers to keep order on Deep Space Nine. Odo, even though Odo is a lot older, all right, he is, well, when I say a lot older than he was when he was an infant, but Odo was pretty old, but young when you think about it in changeling terms, because changelings are pretty immortal and ageless. So the thing about it is that because of his age and because of his inability to really shapeshift, he has the features that he does. He took on the features of his father, Bajoran guy, kind of similar to what the lady from Picard season 3 did, the changing lady from season 3 did with her captor. So for anybody who has actually watched Deep Space Nine, they will know and are very familiar with and probably love the character of Garrick. All right, he's the Taylor / Cardassian super spy, all right, and assassin. Now, a lot of people say that Garrick is probably one of the worst characters in Star Trek, and what I mean by that is he's devious, he's conniving, he's low down and everything like that. But he has a lot of honorable traits as well, especially when you get towards the end of, the middle or the end of the series. But because of a lot of things that Garrick did, he is still considered a bad guy. Good guy, but he's a bad guy, all right? But let's talk about somebody who I consider even worse than Garrick, all right? And that would be Odo. Now, Garrick has certain rules that he lives by. There are very few of them, but he has certain ethics, things that he will and will not do. Okay? Odo really doesn't have any of those borders. All right? If you think about his role as security chief, as constable of the station, even when it comes to something simple like writing reports to Starfleet, he don't want to do that. That's not, no, he ain't, no. All right. When it comes to things like respecting people's privacy or unlawful search and seizure and everything like that, surveillance, all right, Odo don't care about none of that. Odo will turn into a cup or a piece of furniture and go into your room, your quarters, look all around it, invade your privacy, eavesdrop on you, and all of that. Most of the ways that he caught Quark was illegal means, which is probably why Quark never really got put in jail for the things that he did. A lot of people seem to think that Odo is standoffish because that's just how he is. He's, one of those people that's socially awkward. That may be a little bit of the case, but Odo doesn't really care for silence. He'll work with them, he'll talk to them. Sometimes he may even joke with them, mess with them, all that kind of good stuff. But he doesn't really like silence. All right. And why do I say this? The only person who Odo did anything for was Kira. That was the only person he loved. Let's talk about that relationship real quick, so we can go into it. You can talk about some things. Do you guys remember that episode where the Jem'Hadar and the Dominion had retook Deep Space Nine? All right, Kira and all of them decided to form a small resistance group. Kira, Nog, all of them decided to form a little resistance group on the station. Okay, Odo was part of that resistance group. Now, when the female shapeshifters start to incorporate Odo into linking and all that kind of stuff, right? Do you remember he didn't give a damn if people was getting executed? Nog was about to get executed. Nog and a few of them was about to get executed. And Odo was like, look, man, I don't care about none of that kind of stuff. He almost was like, Kira, man, look, or look, man, that stuff beneath me. Why are you even bringing that stuff to me? I don't care about none of that. So even he even said it. He was like, look, or it was acknowledged in the series that if it wasn't for Kira, Odo, despite all of the terrible stuff that the founders were doing, Odo still was gonna go back to the Great Link and be part of the founders. The only thing stopping that was Kira. All right, so Kira basically had to be like, dude, what's up, man? What's wrong with you, man? She was the only person that could snap him back into just straight not going like, forget all of y'all, man. I don't care about none of y'all. Like, solids, like, really, dude? Like, so once Kira was able to do that, you know what I'm saying? He kind of got back on the right side. But one of the biggest tales of how screwed up Odo is, all right? Just how screwed up Odo is. Do you remember the episode Children of Time, I believe it was? All right, I might be a little trippy on my episode names, but I believe it was Children of Time. In the episode, I'm gonna have to do an examination of the episode because it's a lot to talk about in that episode. Well written, outstanding story. The ending was like tragic. I mean, that story was filled with so much. All right, loss, love, community, family, descendants, time. Everything was in that. All right, but anyway, if you guys remember that episode, and it's about to be spoilers for people who have not seen that episode, Children of Time, but in that episode, basically, the Defiant comes across a world that Dax decides, hey, we should take a look at it. It's a little weird, all right? In the process, they crash land on this planet. And they go through a temporal field that surrounds this planet and end up like a few hundred years in the past, okay? Since they have no way to get off the planet, they have no means, and the wormhole isn't there, they have no means of contacting Starfleet, none of this. They decide to remarry and set up and make this world their home. Over time, they had descendants. You had the Cleon descendants. Everybody, kept the major names from the family. So you had the Cisco's, you had the, the O'Briens and all these types of people. Dax was the only one who was from that original time because Dax continued to go into New Host. And that's the thing. I'm gonna have to talk about, hey, how did they get a Trill? Because I remember another Trill being on Deep Space Nine, and then you got to be Trill to have a symbiote in you for a long time, unless you, of course, Discovery. But we ain't gonna even talk about Discovery and how that Trill thing happened. But if you guys remember that episode, man, it was like hundreds of people, and they had devised the plan that they thought would work, but Dax got together and was like, dude, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to preserve, Skippy. But what ends up happening is that they figure out a way to do it, where they can preserve the timeline of their descendants, okay? But it would cost the life of Kira, like it did in the original, because she died in the original timeline crash, okay? Odo, he said, nah, everybody finna die. all these colonists finna die, all hundreds of like all of the whole timeline. See, and people think that it was just those colonists that was there on the surface at the time that died. No, Odo eliminated the whole timeline. That means the first generation of descendants, their generation after them, everything that they had accomplished, all of the knowledge that they had, all of the labs, memories, everything never existed simply because Odo went against the wishes of everybody just for Kira. Now, a lot of people may say, well, that's love. No, that's not love. That is screwed up. All right, that is screwed up, especially when she said that that's what she wanted to do. So you negated her wishes, you negated the wishes of the captain, you negated the wishes of the colonists, you negated the wishes of everybody, right? Because you don't care about none of that. You don't care about solids like that. You know what I mean? Now, another person that came closest to getting on Odo's, good side was Luoxana Troy. And if you guys remember that episode, look at kind of like how he treated her. Most of that episode. All right. Odo is not a good guy. All right. Odo is by no means a good guy. Odo does things to save Kira, to safeguard Kira. All right. If it ain't, nope. Odo will lie. Odo will break and enter. Odo will do illegal surveillance. Odo will he will violate anything if it is in pursuit of order, because changelings like order. Justice, that's two totally different things. So don't call Odo a person of justice, because he does not safeguard people. All right, his pursuit of order and his love of Kira it has side effects that produce that. But please understand that if Kira wasn't around, you know what I mean, Odo would have been a founder. Odo would have happily went back, joined the founders, and became part of the people who was eliminating the Federation and Starfleet. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, if I've done an accurate examination of Odo, okay, or maybe showed Odo in a different light for you guys. But let me know what you guys think of this video. Let me know in the comments, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And as always, peace, recycle, and say to whales, it's nice to get back to the Star Trek, man. You guys be cool.